think of this less as a critique and more as a story, unfolding step by step through the gothic corridors of Blasphemous 2, a journey that knows fewer wonders. It begins like a familiar path, one long untouched road once full of awe, wait, and wonder. Blasphemous 1 left deep marks, clear mechanics, tangible consequences, a world that carried a cruel honesty. Those who completed this first pilgrimage and witnessed the true ending carry an expectation within them. A flame longing for continuation, for a new miracle. In the first game, everything was precise, every prayer had a clear cost, every ability a visible duration. Decisions were exact. In Blasphemous 2, however, much becomes a guessing game, not in a good, mysterious sense, but in an unwelcome, frustrating way. You no longer see how much fervor a prayer consumes. You no longer know how long a spell lasts. You guess, you hope, and you wonder why a sequel hides what was once clear. Blasphemous 2 is often labeled as Souls-like, but that is only partially true. It carries the surface of the genre Estes bottles, checkpoints, dodge rolls, but at its core, it is a platforming game. A game where falling into an abyss does not mean death, but a gentle nudge back to the last solid ground. A game where spikes are not final punishments, but corrections. The developers clearly understood how much hopping occurs, how much trial and error is built into these sections. And that is why the path often feels less dangerous than the dark world might suggest. Not bad, but not demanding either. More routine than challenge. One of the weapons, Rugo al-Alba, promises combos, but these rarely appear as intended. Most of the time, it's just the first hit. The result is a frustrating sense of randomness instead of control. And control is what a game like this should be built upon. It is almost paradoxical. The world feels darker, more morbid, and more religiously charged than before, yet its guardians and bosses quickly lose their intimidation for some players. With the exception of Brother Asterion, many fights end surprisingly fast, not because the bosses are trivial, but because the game allows for real tactical depth. I play aggressively and take risks. I deliberately allow myself to take damage when I know I can deal maximum damage in return or cast a crucial spell. Even when a hit lands, I plan ahead, confident that I will remain alive. I strategically use elements like Path of the Believers and the guilt mechanic to control the flow of battle. To an outsider, it may look as though I effortlessly overwhelm the bosses, but every strike is calculated, every risk measured, and every move grounded in a deep understanding of the game's mechanics. Those who reached the true ending of the first game enter the sequel with a flame of expectation. They wait for the grand answers, the miracle behind the miracle, for the connection that ties everything together, yet the story remains surprisingly quiet, almost restrained. No miracle ending, no revelation, no moment that feels like an epiphany. When you prepared your special, hoping to uncover a hidden chapter, only disappointment remained. Not because it was poorly told, but because there was nothing more to tell. All the more important, then, to recognize what Blasphemous 2 does well. The backgrounds are stunning. Some scenes feel like paintings, carried by careful detail and a strong atmosphere. The music evokes deep emotions, even if Dice World sometimes sounds as if someone accidentally sampled Christmas. The platforming puzzles are clever, creative, and when used sparingly, are among the game's highlights. If they were not stretched across the entire game, they could have truly shined. Mea Culpa, the sword, ultimately rescues the combat experience. The corresponding DLC does not merely make the game playable, it makes it genuinely good. It restores the weight and elegance in combat that Part 1 offered. Quests also provide moments of real quality, especially the Cursed Letter, an example of how delicately small details are used in this world. Mirrors, gestures, subtle environmental hints. The game does not hide solutions behind cryptic riddles, but behind careful observation. The finishers are brutal, artistic, and the NPCs you encounter carry the morbid heart of this world. Even when one cradles a child, it remains a fragment of this sick, twisted reality, a core part of the series' charm. Enemies, light, but not bothersome. At first, there's an impression that you jump from room to room, only to exit after defeating waves of foes. Fortunately, this is not the main pattern, and some variety remains. Who Blasphemous 2 is for and who it is not, those who love platformers, who enjoy jumping, exploring, and drifting through a darkly beautiful world, will find much to enjoy. Those seeking the harshness of a Souls-like, who expect every mistake to be punished and every boss to be a triumph, will find little here. For me, it was a personal pilgrimage not out of enthusiasm, but from the desire to continue after the true ending of Part 1, without knowing what awaited in the second part. And the answer is a solid game, but not a miracle. Final reflection, Blasphemous 2 is a beautiful, well-crafted game, full of atmosphere and thoughtful details, but with a mistaken identity. It pretends to be difficult, but it is not. It pretends to be mysterious, but hides only the minimum. It pretends to tell a miracle, yet delivers just a chapter. Not a bad game, but not sacred
Penitent One.
either.
The sentence of the Holy Return has been passed down on the both of us. Eternal deaths, and their eternal returns. For our purposes are exalted. So much so, that we are as prisoners of them. So, come. Let us pit your sword of guilt against the crystal tomb of my venerated master. Two heresies in glorious combat. Return me to the delectable abyss of deserved pain.
This waiting, this endless waiting, has been my penance. The original penance, as old as the miracle itself. It appointed me first among penitents, perpetual by its grace, perpetual in awaiting you an eternity. My miracle, heed my prayer. Grant me thine blessing to fulfill thine holy command. Dress my body in wounds, lacerate the tattered parchment that clothes my flesh. For I am the first penitent, and you shall be the last. Now let the crimson bindings finish what they once began. My penance is far from over. Fraternity